When you talk to fighters, do you feel like you're still having a conversation fighter to fighter, or do you feel like you've crossed over a little bit into that media side?
I try hard to make sure that it's fighter to fighter. I think that the Joe Rogan experience is a great example of that, where you get somebody on and then you just have a conversation. Every now and then, and I'm sure you guys can attest, it's like pulling teeth, and it does turn into an interview because I'm not asking questions if the other guy's not saying anything. And that's not very fun for me or the listener. So if I can make it just two guys talking, two guys catching up, a lot like what we're doing right now, I think that's a lot more entertaining, and it's definitely more fun to have a conversation than to conduct an interview. But it's a skill set. You know, it's hard to do because it's a dance, and if the other person doesn't play along, you've got to have your questions ready.
You know, last week we had the Iron Sheik as a pro wrestler on the show, and we talked a little bit about passing the torch and what he did for other pro wrestlers. Have you ever had that experience, Chael, where you felt like you could maybe pass the torch on to someone else and you see a little bit of yourself in another fighter?
You know what? I was getting ready to pass the torch. I was getting ready. When I was going through my run through the middleweight division, I fully expected to beat Anderson and win the championship, and I was also aware that I was going to drop the championship to an unknown fighter named Chris Weidman. In the back, in the locker room, we all knew for a very long time that Chris was the guy. It was going to take a while for him to get those main card and main event spots, but amongst the fighters, we knew once he got him, he was going to become the champion. So it didn't totally work out for me in that way, but I do believe in that. I know if I was the champion, I would not have retired on top. I would have stayed until somebody else won it. And I don't begrudge a guy like George St. Pierre who did it the opposite way, but George still stuck around a long time and gave enough guys the opportunity. He gave some of them the opportunity twice. It just came into nobody could beat him, and he wanted to go do something else. So for me, I was never at that level of dominance, and that was what I believed was going to happen. I was going to beat Anderson, probably have to go beat Anderson again, and eventually pass it to Chris.